Hello everybody, Purple56 here, and this is my top 10 champions whose abilities you can cancel with Trundle's Pillar. The list goes in an order, and the criteria for the list are how consistently you can cancel an enemy's ability, how realistic it is for you to do that, and how much impact it's going to have if you cancel that enemy's ability. The list is a result of my experiences I gathered during my climb to Master Elo at the end of Season 14, 2024. Let's get to it. So at the bottom of the list we have Caitlyn and Jhin, and the reason why they're at the bottom is because while you can cancel Caitlyn's ultimate, it goes on a 5-second cooldown if it gets cancelled, so she can basically just use it again. To add on top of that, she of course also has her really long range that she can cast her ultimate from, so realistically speaking, you're just not going to cancel Caitlyn's ultimate too often, and even if you do, you don't really get anything out of it, you know? She just uses it again if she wants to. Then we have Jhin, and Jhin is basically the same as Caitlyn, except that if you do cancel his ultimate, it actually goes on cooldown, so it can be a little bit more worthwhile to cancel it if it means you'll win a teamfight because of it, but usually Jhin's ultimate is not the deciding factor for a teamfight to be won, so it probably won't matter anyways. And then there's of course also the fact that he usually casts his ultimate from a place where you just won't be during a teamfight. Moving on to the actual top 10, taking number 10 is Karthus, and now you might be wondering, why is Karthus listed so low on the list? And you know, it's for similar reasons as Caitlyn and Jhin. While cancelling a Karthus ultimate can be rewarding, and yes, you might be able to save somebody by cancelling it, Karthus usually just uses it from a place where you can't even see him. He might just cast it from base, or then, you know, he might just use it while he's dead, when you can't displace him. So there's some limiting options here that come into play. You're not most likely going to cancel a Karthus ultimate if you face one in the game. So at number 9 we have Skarner, and this is the beginning of champions whose abilities you can cancel on a little bit more of a consistent basis. You can cancel Skarner's E, but the timing is a little bit tricky and cancelling it can be a little bit inconsistent. The reason is because you need to place your pillar under Skarner. If you place it in front of him, I think the game just treats it as terrain and, you know, he just kind of goes through it. I don't know the exact reason, but this is why I think it might be happening. Anyways, compared to the previous champions, if you are able to get the positioning of your pillar down to cancel Skarner's E consistently, it is quite a useful trick to have up your sleeve. At number 8 we have Ornn, and the reason why Ornn is here is because it's a little bit more consistent and realistic to cancel his ultimate second part. Of course, he can cast it from range, but the potential damage you'll prevent by cancelling it is pretty big. So Pantheon I put as number 7 because you can cancel his ultimate, which can be pretty big, but you can only cancel it if you're close to him and if you can see him using it, because, you know, he has so much range on the thing. And yeah, his ultimate also goes on a 30-second cooldown, so it's not that big of a punish, even if it gets cancelled. You can also somewhat cancel Pantheon's W, but it's very inconsistent because of how quickly you need to react to it. And even if you do cancel it, sometimes, you know, even if you place your pillar between you and him, the ability, his W, it still goes through and he just kind of jumps over the pillar and hits you anyways. Number 6, I put Zac because you can cancel his E very often. I've found out that the times I played against a Zac top lane, they sometimes weren't even aware that I could cancel their E, and this was very often in mid to high diamond lobbies too. The only situation where you can't really cancel his E is if he makes it very short and doesn't charge it up. Zac is this high on the list because if you are able to consistently cancel his E's throughout the game, you will surely make a big impact in teamfights. However, this is very often easier said than done because, you know, he gains more range on his E as he levels it up, so sometimes you won't even see him before it's too late. taking the number 5 spot in my opinion is Shen. The reason why I put Shen as number 5 is because by cancelling his ultimate, you can invalidate a big part of his character. If you're playing against a Shen and if there's a fight happening somewhere on the map, Shen players have a habit of walking away to safety so they can use their ultimate to save their teammates. However, if you stay persistent and follow them, you can usually just cancel their ultimate with your pillar. You should always save your pillar for when the Shen player uses their ultimate if there is no better use for it. It goes on full cooldown, so this is arguably one of the best abilities to cancel in the game. As number 4, I said Sion for 2 reasons. You can cancel his Q, which will have huge impact in teamfights, especially because it's an area of effect ability that could potentially stun multiple of your allies, but also because you can cancel his ultimate too. Not much else to say here, but the fact that you can cancel his ultimate is very good for preventing him from escaping or engaging on your team. Number 3, I have Fiddlesticks. If you cancel his ultimate, the impact is huge, because just like with Shen, you invalidate a big part of Fiddlesticks' champion identity by just cancelling his ultimate, which also goes on cooldown. The difficult part here though is the consistency, because very often if the Fiddlesticks player is skilled, they will find the angles where you don't have vision to use their ultimate from, and then in the process you obviously cannot cancel it because you can't see them. As number 2, I have Tahm Kench. It's sometimes absolutely hilarious when I play top lane and I'm versing a Tahm Kench. You can cancel Tahm Kench's W very easily, and it's such an important ability for him, both for escaping and engaging the enemy, that cancelling it is pretty huge in teamfights. The reason why he's so far up this list is because I feel like it's very easy to cancel his W on a consistent basis, because he's a tank and usually likes to be in the same spots as you in teamfights, so you can very often find yourself in a position to cancel his Abyssal Dive. Deciding who takes the number 1 spot was a difficult choice. There were a lot of champions that, I wanted to include in this list that could very well be in it. Champions like Malzahar or Vi, for example, are both champions who both have abilities that are easy to cancel on a consistent basis. However, I feel like someone who is worthy of receiving the number 1 spot here is Nunu. Nunu has 2 abilities that can be cancelled, his W and his ultimate. His W can be cancelled on a very consistent basis, and if you are properly positioned, he should never be able to engage on your team with his snowball. You can also play your laning phase pretty carefree, because you can always cancel his W with your pillar, which just makes the gank a dead play pretty much immediately. His ultimate is cancelable too, which is really huge for teamfights, because you can prevent your teammates from getting one-shotted. Nunu's ultimate still deals a little bit of damage, because the damage on his ultimate ramps up the more he dodges it, so the sooner you can cancel it, the better. And that was about it for the video. If you have any suggestions for future videos or any feedback on this one, leave them down in the comments below. I hope this video helped you widen your knowledge about different interactions you can take advantage of as Trundle. See you!